Hello everyone, this podcast is brought to you by the Chartered Instituted Building aka CIOB, the world's largest and most influential professional body for construction management, built environment and leadership with around 50,000 members in more than 100 countries. Our members past and present have had a hand in executing many groundbreaking and iconic projects across the globe.
Charter membership provides you with the recognition of your ability, knowledge, and experience within the industry, creating more exciting career opportunities. Don't forget to become a student member for free today.
Welcome to another enlightening industry insight interview episode. I'm your host, Daisy Wu, the podcast lead representing the student, graduate, and young professionals community within the Chartered Institute Building, Oceania chapter. Today, I'm really pleased to be joined by my fellow committee, Tilly Jen.
Hi everyone, my name is Tilly Jen, and I'm marketing lead of the Novus Victoria. Today, we have the absolute pleasure to have two resourceful built environmental professionals, Derek Huynh, the president and founder, and Shaun Cheng, the strategy and engagement lead of 𝐜𝐴 ABP Network. 𝐜𝐴 ABP is a non-for-profit organization supported by the University of Melbourne. They partner with organizations to explore how the built environment can advance social, environmental, and economic progress.
Welcome, Derek and Shaun. Could you please briefly introduce yourself and fill us in on what career paths you've taken in order to get to where you are today?
Hi, everyone. My name is Shaun. I'm a project manager with a developer working on a range of sectors across residential, commercial, industrial, land subdivisions, and hotel sectors. I'm also an academic tutor at the University of Melbourne. Apart from work, I'm a committee of the 𝐜𝐴 ABP Network, working with Derek. And I funded a non-profit association called Australasia Property Advisory Association. So I guess today, hopefully I can bring you some insights about your career development, and hopefully I can assist your career progression. Yeah, that's all for me.
Hi everyone, thanks Daisy and Tilly for having Shaun and I here as well today. I'm an architect. I've been in industry for around 7 years, having started from a very small firm of 4 people designing houses to currently working at a global firm called 𝐜𝐚𝐧𝐬𝐫𝐽, where I've had more recent experience in the higher education sector, mixed use, including commercial and most recently now multi-residential buildings. I am also part of running a committee outside of work called 𝐜𝐴 ABP, which all 3 of you have just touched on. And that's also very close with Shaun. And also on the side, I have a big interest in design technology and automation and big data. So that's also been something pretty exciting.
So welcome both of you again. So what's your favorite part of the career and why?
Yep. So if I were, I guess, to answer this now, my favorite part is in the career of architecture and design is really being involved in the very early stage where we're researching, talking to client about the brief, understanding what the needs are and the opportunities, and then really starting to come up with a vision for where that could be. And why that really excites me and why that's my favorite part is that is the stage of the process where we can have a very large impact on how the end product, the built form, can change the experience of the space for users. That change of experience can be anything from a hospital design that makes it faster and more comfortable for patients to recover, or schools which improve learning outcomes for students, or even more recently, the work that Shaun and I have been doing. We've been researching ways where design of high-rise apartments can actually do the reverse of what they've been perceived as, and that is really creating apartments now that can foster and improve living environments and experiences for children and young families. So that's what really excites me. The great thing about my role as well, or a role as an architect, is it also combines the 2 things that I love doing. which is thinking creatively and problem solving and putting them together.
Excellent. Yeah. How about you, Sean?
I guess similar to Derek, we hold the same vision that we want to make social impacts. We want to create values for the others in the industry. That's the reason why we run this research or the non-profit association together. Maybe apart from that, for my work, I really enjoy the acquisition phase and the project completion phase. Because if you started from the due diligence, when you calculate do your feasibility analysis and make sure the data is feasible to proceed, then at the end you can see the actual building or the projects are being built. The achievements, you feel that people living there like the project benefits the community, just makes me enjoy the role.
Yeah, thank you very much for walking us through your career. That sounds like one that's deeply grounded in your vision and one that pivots about delivering value and delivering the legacy that can benefit the broader community apart from the big environment itself. So we look forward to hearing about your story later on as we progress the interview. But before we do that, could you please let us know more about your person? So some icebreaking question for you to conclude the introduction. Do you have any song or book that you can at times look out to and fall back on to keep you motivated and fueled up your creativity streak?
Yes, I like all kinds of music. I wouldn't really set up boundaries for which one I pick, but I would say when I'm done, I tend to listen to light music because they can actually make me feel relaxed and I can consider something seriously. Unless I have a lot of workloads to do, I may bring up some energetic music. Yeah, so that. And in terms of the book, maybe I read books, but maybe the one made profound impact on me was Rich Dad Poor Dad. That book reshaped my views on investments and my plans for the possibilities of the financial freedom in the future. Yeah, so that's all from me.
And from my end, similar to Sean, I read a range of books and listen to a range of music. In terms of the music question or the song question, it really just depends on the mood and what I'm currently doing. So if it is that I have to pull a longer day to get stuff done and there's time pressures, so I'll probably try and listen to music that will reduce my stress levels. So that's something that's quieter, no vocals because that's distracting for me. Or if it's just something to have in the background while I'm doing work that might be, for example, less cognitively, less demanding, then it could be something more energetic and something that I prefer to listen to. In terms of books, there's probably not one book that I can pinpoint down. I love reading books now. Used to not like reading, but really do now in recent years. So I'd probably answer this question by giving you categories instead. There's probably two categories of books that have really made an impact on how I view things and how I sort of see how I can change and have changed me really. The first category of books is a lot of autobiographies or biographies about entrepreneurs or founders or leaders in the world, anything from politics to business leaders, and really learning and hearing their stories and how they approach things. And then taking that knowledge and also combining it with the knowledge that I've really fortunately been able to learn from the second category of books, being just books that cover topics of what's happening around the world, whether it's more political issues or all sorts of other things. So that's what, yeah, those are the things that really interest me.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much. So Derek and Sean, as you may know, the CIOB members work in a spread of disciplines that span the entire life cycle of the environment assets. And our membership really encourage and foster the opportunity for students to develop industry networks and career confidence by creating the access to a very diverse spread of industry networks and functions. So increasing the industry engagement and networking experience appears to be the common ground between our organizations and your non-profit group. So we do hope to revolve the conversation around from there. So how do you firstly see the importance of industry connections and networking in the course of constructing your career?
For me, I do believe connections are very important for everyone's career development. Firstly, connections can bring opportunities. So for me, all my previous jobs were through referrals. Referral is super powerful for one wants to get a role they like. Friends or connections will invite you to join industry events that actually bring to the second point that connections can benefit one's professional development. Connections will like share knowledge or industry insights in between each other, or they can critique your ideas. Like sometimes I call Derek, Derek call me, we can give advice to each other's ideas. And then I guess lastly, the connections will foster the potential business opportunities in the long term. We're now working with your colleagues or with the other people in the associations, but who knows where we end up to be. We might come together in the future doing a business together, or we can do some investment together. Yeah, so that will end up to be my answer, that connections is very important, and you have to explore more connections, build up people around you.
I think what Shaun summarized it pretty nicely as well. Probably the only other thing I'd add is when you sort of, especially for people who are currently studying or just graduated, something that really changed my perspective of industry connections is if you just take a step back and think, like, what is the actual value of it from a first principles point of view? It's the fact that in the industry that we work at, or the industry that you guys are studying for, if you're a student, almost every single thing that you do is with other people, is in a team of people, is collaborative. And when you think about it, someone who can be really effective at their role then is someone who can work with other people really well. And when you think about collaboration at its core, to make a really high collaborating team and high performing team, it comes down to a number of things. You have to be good, obviously, as individuals, but how well do you work together? And that's where you fostering industry connections is really important, because that's what it's about: building trust, building relationships, and building those skills where you can really work person to person or team with team. So and because of that, that's why when you think about every aspect you do, industry connections is important, whether it is getting a job and getting hired, or whether it is even, you know, working your way up the ladder, if that's what you're interested in, or moving to another profession, or helping out a friend in the same industry. It's really in everything that we do.
Thank you, Derek. I think a lot of students can definitely benefit from that. So Derek, as a president and founder of the Ignite ABP, how do you think the bespoke mentoring opportunity assess emerging and junior professionals in, first, the workplace, the preparedness, and the graduate employability, and the second, a career progression and the transitioning?
Yep, that's a really great question, Tilly. I think when you think about, so of course, as a student, you learn a lot of coursework. You can get exposed to as much as you want because we live in the day of the internet. So if we were to take a step back and map out all the sorts of information that's going to help you with your career, we can start listing things out, and you get things like your tutor for your classes will help you, and your lecturer. If you Google will help you, because there's so much on the internet that you can find. Speaking to a friend in the industry can help you, right? And if you keep on listening out, you'll notice that the majority of those sources of information all have something in common, and that is they've been designed as generic information, where it's been someone who's learned it themselves or read it off somewhere else, and that's passing it on to a broader audience. A mentor is very, very different to that, though. It's almost the opposite. A mentorship hasn't been designed to be generalized information from one source from the speaker to the listener. Especially a very effective mentor is understanding specifically you, whether you're a student trying to get a job, or whether you're already professional and you've got another objective, where you are now, where you want to go in the context of you and your world, seeing what your hurdles, your challenges and your opportunities are, and trying to assist you through that. So the biggest thing is it's a lot more bespoke and unique to your career. And that's what's really important, because at the end of the day, no two careers are alike. Even all four of us right now, we have very, very different careers, even though we're in the same industry. So when you take that and then you step back and look at the context, you can see that if you as a student or young professional are interested in just finding general information, you already have that source. But where a bespoke mentoring arrangement is really, really valuable is when, you know, you're stuck in that position where you might, for one instance, you might be working at a firm right now and you might be thinking, I've worked at this really small firm. Should I take a leap and go to a larger firm? Those questions are a lot more specific to you and the objectives that you have. And that's where mentoring, a mentor can really come in and try and shed some more light or assist you with connections or give you their advice based on them going through the same thing. And that's much harder to find on the internet. Not saying it's not possible, but when you try and factor in the context of the relationship between you and the mentor, that can be a lot more valuable.
Yeah, that's a brilliant point made, Derek. I guess a mentor is really imperative in terms of helping you to debunk and demystify many aspects about the industry landscape in the context where you aspire a career in. And also, I guess a mentor is also quite critical in terms of lifting the curtain on what you don't know, and particularly what you don't know that you don't know yet. And on that note, I would really feel thankful for Shaun's mentoring a few years back when we got connected by a very valuable mentoring initiative. I guess in his capacity as my very first mentor, he played a very, very instrumental role in helping me start my career in Australia. And I'd also say that it also teaches me how imperative it is to really strike gold and cherry pick the one mentor who can show you what's possible in the course of starting off. Thank you. Do you have any other points or outlook to add on to mentoring?
Yeah, I think Derek mentioned a great point, and I do believe that the mentor can definitely benefit not just your career, but also for your life as well. Like when you have some life decisions, you want to talk to someone, the mentor can also really help you with that. But I know everyone is very hard to find a mentor, but don't limit yourself. Just try to explore, try to talk to people, the like-minded senior people. Yeah.
That's great. I still remember like 3 years ago, I attended a section in the lunch with alumni. So I'm unfortunately met my mentor there. So I still think until now, I still think it's a great opportunity for me to get familiarized with in the industry. It's also definitely a very important step for me to get in the industry as well.
Yep.
So thank you both of you again. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's brilliantly said, Steely. And if I were to add anything else, that would be, yes, there are valuable opportunities that's fostered by organizations like News Victoria, Industry Group, and ABP. Eventually, it is our responsibility to take ownership and take agency of our own career. It is about ourselves, and the responsibility should fall upon us to really be self-directed and self-initiated, to always seek out opportunities to demystify what we don't know and to unveil what we potentially need to work on constantly. So apart from mentoring, Shaun, I imagine in your capacity as a tutor, it would also be quite instrumental in helping the students set a very concrete foundation, not just with the technical knowledge and soft skills, are imperative to advancing a career in built environment. Would you share and walk us through your latest journey in the recent years?
Yeah, sure. So I guess especially for this year and last year, the COVID-19 made the online study happen in life. I have many students like learning my subjects across the world. I guess my advice today will be focused on how students can tackle the challenges for online studying and for the young graduates who want to continue their professional developments at the current situation. I guess I always encourage my students to take my class or assignments as a real life case study or real life challenge for them to resolve. I normally bring case studies to class and set up the scenarios in the assignment for them to resolve the real issues. You have to take it seriously and don't just finish what are told, but to explore and challenge what has been told. My view might not be 100% the best answers. There could be better ways to resolve the same case study scenarios. So I guess that will bring to a few other tips that I tell my students, or the young graduates. One is a critical thinking. University really shaped your mindsets of not just write an essay, but write your thoughts, not just copy or re-reference any books or researches, but you need to provide your analysis on that. And that can differentiate your answers or differentiate yourself in the workplace. I guess second is challenge yourself with a few resolutions. Just don't limit yourself just for one answer. And I guess third is to make your report simple and easy to understand. In workplace, clients do not want to rate the whole report. They normally just focus on the most important part. Try to make it as simple as possible, and to prioritize the key message you want to deliver to them. I guess lastly is working a team and also take the leadership role for what you are good at. Everyone can contribute to the teamwork, and only if everyone actually release all their potentials in the team that can bring the best results. I guess for the young graduates, the above tips can also apply in the workplace, but at the same time, it's very important for young graduates to set up their goals, what they want to achieve. This is the, $1 million question that everyone wants to figure out, but you have to take a bit time to really think about it. Once you set up your goal for the next 3, 5, 10 years, then you need to do a bit self-learning, build up your steps up to the goal, and then, and you can achieve it. So that's all from me.
You were really excellent as a tutor, as we always would dive into the consultation sessions where you not only help us address the technical queries, but also whenever you get a chance to talk me, you would fill us in on how we can really work on such thing as goal setting and also realigning our career trajectory at times, and also just really speak up for ourselves when we try to knock on the door. So thanks very much again for that, Shaun.
No worries.
Thank you very much, Derek and Shaun, for bringing your energy and insights into this amazing episode. It's really been a big pleasure and delight to chat with like-minded and ambitious young professionals who are really resourceful leaders in the building landscape like you, as a sign of your innovation and dedication.
So could each of you please give an example of a personal development advice to help aspiring and emerging professionals advance their career? Or maybe a quote that you would like to share?
So to me, I really like Steve Jobs' quote. He said, "Stay hungry and stay foolish." Maybe even though after a few years' time we become more senior, we gain more experience, but we should always have the beginner's mind that put yourself in the position that you want to learn from people, not just your manager or people senior than you, but also the young graduates. They have something you can learn from. And in terms of the other development of career development advice would be maybe just find what you are not good at. If you are an introvert, you're probably already good at the strategic thinking, but you probably want to go to more networking events, broaden, build up your connections. If you are an extrovert, you may want to train yourself with all the critical thinking and train yourself with the logics of doing the research. The third is try to be proactive. Only for those ones who are willing to take responsibilities of their tasks can actually get the credits from the team, from the company. And And I guess lastly is just to set up the plans for yourself in the next 1-3 years and do the regular reviews on that, see whether you have achieved any milestones. Yeah, that's all for me.
Very great advice.
Thank you. What about you?
There's probably two bits that I'd say. The first one is I noticed that there's definitely a lot of ambitious young professionals and students out there who really want to make a really, create a really amazing career for themselves. One thing that I see is very common is a lot of them are very, very focused on how to achieve it, in the sense that a lot of people actually focus on how can I accelerate my career, how can I get to director, how can I get to this role, how can I get into this firm. But sometimes an equally important question, not just the how can you do it, the equally important question is why are you doing it. And at the end of the day, your career will span decades generally, and it's just really good to maybe take a moment to think, actually, what is the main driving motivation behind what you're trying to do, and what are you actually trying to make of your career? Because a lot of people who I have realized who are interested in sort of focusing on the how and accelerating it, when I do ask them, like, okay, so what's the purpose behind it? Like, what do you want to do? What really excites you? They actually don't really know. So a lot of people, not everyone, but quite a few people actually spend a lot of effort and time, working overtime, doing all these extra skill building activities to accelerate in something, but they not actually know where they want to take it next. So the first one is thinking about that. The second one is just trying to sort of conclude the discussions that we've had earlier in the conversation about networking and mentoring. We've talked about why we think it's valuable, and we've talked about some of the challenges. And if at this point in this podcast, if you're listening and you're interested in trying to get a mentor or trying to build those networking connections, I guess a bit more specific to that, my advice would be, mentors don't have to be this formalized thing where you go out and ask someone, can you be my mentor? I've been really fortunate that I've had 3 mentors. All 3 of them have just been not through a formal mentoring program. The third one that I had ended up being my mentor for a formal mentoring program. But in all 3 instances, it wasn't me actually asking them, can you be my mentor? It just came out of a natural, organic, a series of conversations that I've had with them, and you'll notice that. And so don't stress about whether you have a mentor or not, or whether someone needs to mentor you or not. A mentor is just a definition of just really someone who can go, it's a definition of what I said earlier. It's just someone who can see where you are in life or career at the moment, see where you want to get to, and be in a position where they want to help you get there, bespoke to your personal life and career. But that can come in many different forms of contributions. It doesn't need to be some senior professional. It can even be someone the same age as you or even younger than you. And there was a really great industry leader that we had for a panel conversation that Ignite hosted 2 years ago. And they said, don't think of as a mentor as one who does everything. Think of them almost more like, think of the situation more like you're running a business, the business being your own career, and you need a board of directors to help you do that. Think of your mentor being that. It goes back to Shaun's point. Think of your weaknesses, or think of where you want to learn more and improve on, and find people who can do that, mentor or not.